Hey guys, this is Al again. I'm back at the shop working on the Brooklands. So I wanted to give you a quick update. It's going to be a short one today because basically because I want to have the music on while I'm working, and I can't have the music on while I'm recording. But in any case, I'm putting the dash back together right now, and I'm going to give you a quick video update of what I've done so far and what I need to do, because it's a little bit annoying, and if anyone runs through this issue, right, they may want to see how I went about doing this so that they could, maybe make it easier for them. But in any case, let me take the camera down. Notice here how I've got a Jensen with no engine, yet it's still leaking oil. I don't know how that's doing that, but anyway, it is what it is. So the first thing I needed to do is put the alarm module back where it's supposed to be. So if you can see, there's a bracket at the bottom of the alarm module that bolts up to these two bolts. The easiest way to do it is, you see this rod where the alarm module mounts underneath. Undo those two top bolts right there, and then you can basically lift that thing and it will pivot out, upwards. Then you can get to the alarm module, but that's the easiest way to do it. Otherwise it's a little bit cumbersome. The transmission module is a giant pain in the rear, so let me get underneath here and I'll show you where that's mounted. So best way to see it, right, okay, see that? That's the transmission module right there, this guy. So so that one, the easiest way to get to it actually is to go in from the top, so you can see where it's mounted, and you've got to kind of slide it in from the top, and then position it in through this gap over here, and then mount the install the wiring loom back on, which is kind of really tedious to get it done, but that's really how you do it, right? So it's a bit of a struggle plugging it in once it's in that position, but it takes a bit of time, but eventually it gets figured out. What we had to do, we had to remove this vent in order to install to remove the transmission module. So we had to remove this vent in order to get to the transmission module so that we can remove it. So we had to basically take it out and push it out of the way. So all of this stuff had to go. These are mounted using these pins, and this is kind of tricky as well. So these pins over here, right, they have these little circlips. Let's see if I can get it to focus, yeah, close enough. So they have these circlips on each end, one on this end, one on that end, and they have a little plastic bushing that's right here, and then a spring that goes in here, and then obviously the circlips fits in. So what effectively happens is you've got to put this bushing on the front of the vent, and then you've got to slide this through the front wall, of the dash, right, so that it basically holds the bushing, it holds the actual vent cluster in. Then you've got to push this circlips in, and then you've got to get the other circlips on it. So it's kind of a chore because of just the way it's done, and there's 4 of them. But the way I found the easiest way to do it is just to basically take the whole thing apart, except for this one circlips, slide this through the front, and as you slide it through the front, you put this in before you slide it through the vent. Once it's through the vent, then you put the spring on, and then you put this guy on. That's basically how it goes on. Otherwise, and you've got to be really careful, because these things, I don't know whether you've ever experienced these little circlips, but they have a habit of flying across the room, and being a going missing, right, and then you're done. your whole day's ruined. So that's basically how I'm doing it. I'm putting that together right now. Once I get this all on, I'm going to have the dashboard, start putting the dashboard on. So let me get through that, put the music back on, and I'll give you an update once I'm done. Alright guys, so I have the dash mostly put back together. I don't know whether you can see well enough. It's come up looking pretty good considering the way it looked beforehand. This dash was all torn up prior to me sending the dash off to get it reupholstered, but they did a pretty decent job. You know what, let me come get around the other side so now I can use the drop back. So you can see, actually did a pretty decent job of the stitching. So, looks pretty nice. Dash is all back in. You know, that's one thing I really hate, and I also, you know, gave the seats a quick wipe down and the carpet vacuumed. There's still a panel that needs to be put up underneath there and a couple of little knickknacks on the other side, but it's it looks pretty good. This airbag seems to sit a little bit inwards. I've got to figure out why it's doing that. I'm not sure, it's not clear to me, but the rest of the dash is in, you know, pretty nice shape. It's not bad condition at all. The next steps is I got to open up that console and get behind the climate control. That dial over there just basically does nothing. It just spins around and around and around. So I guess the wires behind it, the contacts broke, and I need to get behind it. Also need to look at the power seats. They're not working very well. I think that there's a problem with the probably with the battery backup module, and from what I understand, there is a bypass, a workaround with that. So we'll probably get through and figure that out. But you know, all in all, I think the dash looks, you know, a million times better. I end up losing one of these things, which is something that drives me crazy about taking cars apart and leaving them for so long, you know, apart without putting them back together again. I always knock heads with the kid because he'll take something apart and then I'll tell him to put it back together again. He's like, well, why do you want to put it back together again if it's not fixed? And it's like, because I don't want to leave it apart for months on end. And the reason I don't want to leave it apart for months on end is because invariably parts go missing. So, you know, I lost one of those. I end up basically robbing it off the Azure. I'm hoping it's somewhere in the car, you know, underneath the seat or something like that. But yeah, that's very frustrating. So, but apart from that, dash is in. Doesn't look bad at all. I'm pretty happy with it. And next thing I'm going to do is just move on to some of the other more minor issues. I've got to bleed the brakes. Finish putting the engine cover back on because we took that all off, and then see if I can get it inspected and driving. So it's just onwards and upwards. Alright guys, well that's it from me. Thank you very much, and I'll probably catch up with you as soon as I get some traction on the Jensen. The heads are out at machine shop right now, but they wouldn't take the block, so I've got to find another machine shop for the block. We'll see how that goes. And I'm also trying to figure out the issue with the Arnage T as well. I'm back on that deal, trying to figure out what's going on. Anyway, I appreciate it. Thank you very much, and tune in next week. Take care. Bye bye.